Thank you and welcome to the show this morning. The topic this morning is Boko Haram and instability in West Africa. And of course we have to talk about Boko Haram and instability in West Africa, Dr. LMadu, who has given us excellent information not only in reference to terrorism in West Africa, but information relative to what is going on in the Middle East, in South America and other areas. And of course, Dr. LMadu, let me welcome you to the show this morning and to tell you again how delighted we are to have you, and at the same time to be made aware of some of the things that you bring to us. As I've said on a number of occasions, it appears to me that you have the information that nobody else has, and so we're glad to have you to talk about Boko Haram this morning. What do we mean, Dr. LMadu, when we talk about Boko Haram?
Well, they are the new kid on the block as far as terrorism is concerned. Boko Haram in the Hausa language means Western education is sinful. You know, their name sounds ironic because apparently all the bombs they use and all this is made by Western technology.
So yeah, so they're against Western education, but they use Western technology to kill folks.
That's correct.
Oh, very good. Okay, Boko Haram.
That's correct. They're using Western technology and drive the scooters and cars and all this that they use for their bombing. So that's what's funny about it. In the mid-1990s, that group started in a place called Borno, in the northeastern part of the country. Borno State shares borders with Chad Republic, in the north. It was led by a guy called Ibrahim Yusuf. Initially they started as, normally as a nondescript group of people who have resentment, against the society, and obviously thought that Western education and Western influence are corrupting their society. They stayed that way, and engaged in low-level police, activities against the police and all this. Not until 2009, when an incident happened in Maiduguri, that's the capital of Borno State, where their base is. Ostensibly, the police stopped some of their members and said, well, we have a law here that you have to wear helmets while driving motorcycles. Well, they resisted and started shooting, with the police. And that created an incident that the federal government of Nigeria had to send in the army, to crush the...
It was that important, that significant,
exactly,
that large,
exactly,
that fearful.
That's correct. It was that rough that the federal government had to send in the army to crush them. In doing so, hundreds of their supporters and members were killed. Their leader, Mohammed Yusuf, was captured by the army, handed over to the police, who executed him without, taking him to court. No questions asked, summarily executed him. Then that drove them underground, and they started plotting. Since then all of a sudden, they started bombing everywhere. They've bombed the United Nations headquarters, last year. They bombed the police headquarters itself, the same time, almost the same time. And now they're slaughtering Christians all over, northern parts of the country.
And so in a real sense, Dr. LMadu, the whole struggle that people think about, the struggle between Christianity and Islam in Nigeria, in some parts of Nigeria, is motivated, you believe, by Boko Haram?
Well, Boko Haram is feeding into, that problem.
Already a system that already existed.
Exactly, it's feeding into it successfully, one might say, unfortunately. What has happened here is that Boko Haram, says, well, we want an Islamic state all over northern parts of Nigeria. We want secession from those heathens and non-believers called Christians. We want our own country, But then the federal government says we can't do that. We can't compromise on, one country, or Islamic republic all over the country. So now we're at a deadlock. What do you do, with them?
Okay, and Dr. LMadu, let's make this first commercial break, and when we come back, I think we'll be able to pick up at that particular point. And so what we're saying now is that this group is violent, terrorist organization, and they want to, in a real sense, create an Islamic state all over Nigeria, not only in northern Nigeria, but all over Nigeria. Is that what we're saying? And when we come back within the next 10 seconds, we're going to pick up at that point and have you to elaborate on that. And we'll be back with our audience following this very, very short commercial break.